You just said yes, and you didn't want to? You knew it the second the message came in. That drop in your stomach, that tightening in your chest. Your entire body was already shaking its head, but you typed it anyway. Because the alternative, the guilt, the look on their face, the story they'd tell themselves about you, felt worse than whatever you just agreed to. So, you swallowed it. Again, this video is going to tell you boundaries are important. You already know that. What I want to talk about is why, even when you know, the guilt still wins. Because the problem isn't that you don't want to set boundaries. The problem is that your body treats the guilt like it's proof you're doing something wrong. It's not, and I can show you exactly what's happening when it fires. Here's what most people get wrong about boundary guilt. They think it means they're being selfish, that the guilt is their conscience talking. Wrong. Guilt is not a moral signal. It's a conditioned alarm. Think about a smoke detector. It goes off when there's a fire, but it also goes off when you burn toast. Same alarm, very different situation. Your guilt response works the same way. At some point in your life, asserting your own needs caused a real problem. So, your nervous system learned to manage other people's emotions because your safety depended on it. Psychologist Pete Walker calls this the fawn response. Fawning is people-pleasing as self-protection. The alarm doesn't check the context. It just fires. It's not evidence. It's noise from an old system that hasn't been updated yet. Most people who struggle with boundary guilt grew up in environments where love was conditional, where keeping the peace was a skill you developed to stay safe. As children, we stop knowing what we want because we're focused on what everyone else needs. The equation gets hardwired. My needs create their discomfort, and their discomfort creates danger. Social rejection activates the same brain regions as physical pain. The dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, the DACC, lights up when you stub your toe and when you disappoint someone. Your brain is registering social rejection as physical harm. So, when you say no, your brain says, "Don't do that, it hurts." But every time you override your needs, the part of you that knows what you want starts to go offline. This is how people-pleasing erodes identity. The boundary was right, the alarm is just old. The more times you let the alarm fire without caving, the quieter it gets. That's neuroplasticity. You're retraining your brain. First, they separate the boundary from the conversation. A boundary in something you explain. It's something you do. You don't owe an explanation. You owe yourself consistency. Second, expect the guilt. Set the limit, and let the guilt arrive like weather. Name it. That's the old alarm. Naming it activates the prefrontal cortex and interrupts the cycle. Third, stop measuring success by how the other person responds. Some people are going to react badly. That's information about them, not evidence against you. And fourth, accept that some relationships will not survive you becoming healthy. Not because you're cruel, but because some relationships were only stable because you stayed small. Grieve that, but don't mistake it for proof that boundaries are selfish. They're just honest. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and never feel guilty again. But you can start treating the guilt as an old alarm in a house that's already safe. You can feel it, and still hold the line. It's going to cost you something, but what you've already been paying, in exhaustion and resentment, that's been real too. You just haven't been counting it. Start counting.